The Weekly Warp Pipe.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Weekly Warp Pipe, a podcast dedicated to retro video games, 80s and 90s toys, and all things nostalgia. This week, we're jumping in the Warp Pipe, and we're going to be going back and taking a look at game hunting finds. This topic was suggested by Colby. He said, I'd love to hear about some epic game hunting stories, like best finds out in the wild or at a thrift store. And Jay said he has a ton of stories to show.
Man, I'm so stoked for this episode.
Excellent. Yeah. And be sure to catch us every week, Saturday at 7 a.m. You can check out the weeklywarpipe.com for other episodes. We do shorter versions on Wednesday, not the weekly, Warp Pipe Wednesday, every Wednesday if you guys want more podcast awesomeness. I will say I found out, so last week's Warp Pipe Wednesday, we did intro cartoon like theme songs.
Yeah.
And we listened to a few of them. And when I went to upload that to YouTube, it got flagged. So it couldn't be shown in certain countries.
Oh, dang.
And so you couldn't even view it in the US. So I had to edit out that part. Like you could do that on YouTube. Like once it's uploaded, you can cut sections out.
Yeah.
So it let me just cut that section out with the music in it, and then it would be available for people to watch. It had no effect on Google, Spotify, or iTunes because it's just audio.
I watched it on YouTube with all the music in it.
It cut out one of the things, I think.
Okay.
And then it let it, I don't know which song it was, but since we were listening to, it definitely would have done it if we listened to Ghostbusters.
I think the Ghostbusters one is the only one I did not hear, but it was an honorable mention at the end. But I heard Rescue Rangers, DuckTales, I think, Tailspin, and several others. G.I. Joe, Transformers.
Right. So I don't know which one triggered it.
I don't remember.
But so I guess a word of thought when we're picking topics to see some stuff maybe we can't watch or use the music to. Who knows?
Yep. There you go.
But yeah, we're going to talk about some thrifting finds possibly and stuff that we gotten. And we do have a caller and someone sent in a text message. So
all right. They listened to my plea.
If you don't want to call, you can text the number as well. So get your pen out. And that number is, let's see, where is it? 949-682-9277.
Yep.
So give us a buzz and then we can play it on the episode, and you can give us suggestions of topics maybe you want to hear or chime in with the current topic that we are talking about.
Or just give us compliments about how beautiful we are.
I could always do that. Yeah. Smashing
young men.
So you want to go first? Yeah, I know I think you have a lot more than mine. I made a few notes, but
I've got a ton. So, let's start with the $5 top loader. All right. So, I used to do YouTube with a buddy of mine that frequented my channel named Todd. He was deemed Creepy Todd. Even got his own t-shirt named after him. And Todd used to always be like, dude, you got to get a top loader. And I kept telling him, I'll get a top loader when I can find one for $5. And he would be like, dude, you're never going to get a top loader for $5. So in Lawrence, South Carolina, there was a pawn shop called Gold Merchant. It's no longer there. And the woman who ran the store was pretty smart and knew mostly what she had. And because she also would do what's the word I'm looking for? Like flea market sometimes too. And every time I'd go there, she was really funny about haggling on prices. It was what it was. You weren't going to talk her down at all.
Right.
But every time they went in the back room, I could see this huge shelf full of consoles and stuff. So I knew they had a lot more inventory in the back. They just hadn't sorted through. So one day I went in and it was her husband working. And I was like,
here's my in.
I don't know if this guy is quite as, as knowledgeable as the wife. So I just kind of played dumb. And I was like, hey, do you happen to have one of those weird Nintendos where the game actually goes in the top? It plays the 8-bit cartridges, but it goes in the top, not in the front, like one of those. he said, yeah, I think we have one of those. So he went to the back and he brought out this dirty, dingy top loader. And he said it didn't work.
Okay.
And when I was looking at it, I noticed the reset button was like smashed down. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it was like locked in reset mode. And in my mind, I thought to myself, I bet if you could push that reset button up, this thing would work.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I bought it. So he said, I don't know, make me an offer. And the Shady J in me from Game Chasers, I was like, I don't know, I'll give you $1 for it. And he was like, $1? How about $5? And I was like, you got it, $5. Here you go. Let's make this transaction. I got out of that store so fast. I sent Todd a picture. I was like, you'll never guess what I just got for $5. And he's like, no freaking way. I can't believe you got it. You're so lucky. And took it home, got the Clorox wipes out, cleaned it all up. It shined up beautifully. And I didn't have one of those bits to open.
Yeah, because there was security bit underneath.
You need a security bit. So I had to wait like a week for that to come in the mail because this was very early on in my collecting days. We got that bit. I think what happened was I actually went to Todd's house for a weekend trip. And so we used his. And we popped up that reset button and turned it on, popped in a game. And he was like, I can't believe this freaking thing works. It was just the reset button. So that's the story of the $5 NES top loader.
Nice. That's a good
one. It's sitting right over there. I love that thing.
It still works.
Beautiful.
The only downside with I do have a top loader, and it's just sitting at my mom's. I got it from my buddy Mark, who I guess is going to go into my story or whatever. But I was in the market for one. This is only like 2 years ago or whatever. And my buddy Mark always meets me he's from Pennsylvania. So he goes to Too Many Games Expo. And he was going there and he had mentioned something about him having a top loader and maybe wanting to get rid of it. And he said he could mod it because the issue with the top loader is it's only RF. When you got to plug it in, you got to screw it into the back of the CRT TV. So I said, if you can mod it to AV, I'll buy it from you. So he ended up modding it himself and we agreed on a price. I can't remember what the price was. It was probably at least $100. Maybe it was $120. So there's Jace right there.
So
it's clean.
For those of you watching, you can see how clean it is. It was pretty dirty. And there's a little, I don't know if you can see it. There's a little nick somewhere in the reset button. But anyway, this was excuse me. Sorry, I had to cough. This was smashed down in like that down position, like that.
Gotcha.
And so once I went in and popped it up from the inside, that was it.
Then it worked. Yeah, I got my top loader and I probably hooked it up once. And then I was like, okay, I just didn't have room to put it out over here, but I should bring it over here just to at least have it. Doesn't take up that much room because it's so narrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was at Too Many Games again. I think this might have been the same year that I got the top loader from Mark. And I was there with David Apuzzo, and we're walking around looking for whatever each booth has. And I see Dave in the distance looking one of those TV trays. It's the Super Mario Brothers TV tray. It's red. It's got the graphics on it. Kind of put it back. And then so I went over to the booth and pulled it down and was looking at it. And I was like, okay. I was like, what are you asking on this? And it's a little bit beat up on the back of it. It's got a little bit of rust and stuff on it. Obviously, because it's metal and you wash this thing, it's going to maybe get rusty. So the guy was like, like $40. And I was like, that seems pretty good. I feel like if I'm going to walk away from it, someone's going to end up buying it from me or, and they'll come back out from under me. So I said, okay, we'll make the deal $40. So, and of course, I'm trying to film all this, get some B-roll of it. And so while I'm doing that, Dave kind of went ahead to the next booth. So then I'm coming around the corner with my purchase, put it in the bag, and I see Dave holding up the same tray in way better shape. And I was like, no way. I was like, how much? He was like, $35 or like it was less than what I paid in way better condition.
Oh, dang it.
And I was like, had I just held out for, 5 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, well, you live and learn, right?
Right. So I still have it. I got it on display. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. It does the job.
All right, you ready for story number 2?
Go for it.
All right, so I'll save the punchline for the end where I ruin the top loader at the beginning. So there's this store where I live called Miracle Hill, and I've been fortunate enough to make multiple friends at this store. Seems to be a lot of turnover, like in the back, and so I had this one buddy named Hunter several years ago, and then Hunter kind of let the other guys in the back know, hey, like anything retro, I hold it for Jay. Pretty much he gets first dibs if he wants it. And he never charged me more than like $10 for anything. Like he would just bring out, the very first time I met him, he brought out like a Sega CD. It's the very first video on my channel.
Okay.
Like a Sega CD, an N64, a bunch of random games, a Genesis, and he gave it to me all for $10.
Like a bundle?
Oh yeah, he's like the whole. I was like, what do you want? He's like $10. I was like, for everything? He's like, yeah, just the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. So I go in one day and I go in the back and I'm like, hey, you got anything for me? And one of the random guys that works there is like, yeah, we got this this Virtual Boy in a box. And I was like just in a random box or like the box that came in? He's like, they're like, oh, it's in the box that came in. And I was like, sweet. And he's like, yeah, Hunter's already marked it for you. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, what's he asking? Because I'm thinking, maybe for this he's gonna ask more. He's like, $10. Right. And my mind just like explodes, right? And I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So I run to the front. I got this boxed Virtual Boy. It's got a $10 sticker on it. And I'm like, my mind is just blown, right? This just doesn't happen. I get out in the car. I'm like, I take it home. I don't even open it till I get home. Like, I don't even know what's in it because I'm just
box of bricks.
Even if it's just a box, I'm cool with that.
Right.
And I get home and smashed inside of this box is also itORW Boxer in the box.
In the box. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this itORW Boxer was smashed inside of it, and you can see like it's kind of not in great shape. So this was in there too, and whoever had this Virtual Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Either used it like one time or never used it. It wasn't assembled. The legs weren't attached. The little visor piece that kind of keeps your eyes from any light entering, I guess, looked brand new. Just pristine condition. Usually where the legs split out, there's like this little piece in the middle that kind of can crack sometimes.
Okay.
It was pristine. But I got Virtual Boy complete in the box with itORW Boxer in the box.
Nice.
For $10. And that's only one of my Virtual Boy stories.
Jeez Louise. I like how also we're incrementing up in $5. You got the $5 NES top loader, the $10 Virtual Boy.
That's right.
Next will be the $15 Sega Master System.
Nope, next we're going back down.
Well, Jay told a Virtual Boy story, so I might as well tell my Virtual Boy story. Not quite as epic as a find like that. How long ago was that? Was that like 10 years ago?
Maybe 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't. It was within the last 6-7 years.
And I can say I'd never seen a Virtual Boy at any thrift store in all my hunting years.
Well, this one never made it to the floor because luckily.
So that must be what happened. Like whoever ever a Virtual Boy came into Savers of Goodwill, it must have. That's
my biggest tip if you're hunting. If you have a thrift store like that, if you can make friends with the people in the back that sort the stuff out, don't let it even get to the floor. Just have them contact you directly.
There you go. So I had always wanted to get a complete Virtual Boy set. I figured, okay, it's one of the smallest sets of Nintendo games, so I feel like it's more attainable instead of getting like all the NES games or N64 games where there's hundreds of them. There's only, I think, like 12 Virtual Boy games. I can't remember. It's under 20 at least, and
Absolutely.
only I think 3 of them have very high price tags.
Yeah, Waterworld,
Jack Bros.
I don't know what the other one is.
And maybe Nestor's Funky Bowling.
Maybe.
Possibly. But I was buying games here and there. I did get a Virtual Boy just like randomly. No fun story with that, but I was trying to maybe buy a game a year or save up and maybe get one of the expensive ones. And someone had made a post on Facebook as like a sale thing, and he had a complete in box Virtual Boy game with all the games. And he was like, I priced it out at, price charting and eBay. And then this is what I'm kind of looking for. And I was just kind of like, made a comment of like, maybe I'm interested or whatever. It'd be cool to, own all those. So he messaged me directly and he had said, hey, I watched the, your YouTube channel and this and that. And, maybe we could cut a deal. So I was kind of like, this is where I'm at. Would you want to do that? And he had lived a state over from me in Massachusetts. So I was like, well, I'll drive out your way so you don't have to come to Connecticut and, maybe cut some money off for like gas or whatever. So he was like, okay, we agreed to it. So we drove out there. I have a full video of this on the channel and me getting this deal. We ended up meeting and I thought it would be hilarious. Also make for a good YouTube thumbnail. I had gone to Goodwill and gotten like a briefcase. And then when I went to the bank, I got like low bills so I can fill the briefcase full of money.
Right.
Because I thought that would just be epic.
It's like a play right out of Retro Rick's videos.
So,
I bought this with a briefcase of money.
Right. I thought that'd be a fun tagline. So we just met in a random parking lot. And yeah, he had a full box Virtual Boy. He had, for whatever reason, the power adapter boxed.
Nice.
And it came with a controller. It came with every single game and all their manuals as well. So like Jack Bros alone, I think the manual was like $300 or something like that. And he had said he had all the games boxed, but he had sold just the boxes to kind of make some money to buy some other stuff. And then now he was like over Virtual Boy. So he's like, I want to get some other things. So, I mean, I paid pretty for it. I want to say, what the heck did I pay? It was, I would say at least $1,000. It was over $1,000.
But if you said that one game alone is worth 300, or
the
manual
is 300, and I believe the game is like 700. So it might even be over 2,000. I want to say it was in the $2,000. I can't remember.
Right,
it's
we'll
on
have to watch the video.
You have to see the video to get the exact price. But now I have a complete Virtual Boy set, and I was gonna maybe they have on Etsy. You can get either repro boxes made, or they have like Nintendo DS cases that are like red in color. And then you can put the slip sheet in and then put your game in there. So I was like, maybe I'll do that so it'll look nice on the shelf.
I made a Virtual Boy video, Russ, one time. I don't know if you ever saw it, but I made it around Halloween. And so I had this great idea. The video would start with me playing the Virtual Boy, and then I would pull my head away and be like, oh, what's up, guys? And I took blood and like smeared it under my eyes. So it was like the Virtual Boy literally made my eyes bleed. So when I come out of the Virtual Boy, like I have all this blood coming out.
I'll have to look for that one. I did do in my video. I did something about like chugging aspirin.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But then also too, one of my buddies had put out a book about Virtual Boy, and I did make it into the book, and I had a picture of me in the Virtual Boy and all that. So
do you have some game doubles now?
I do. Yes.
Ooh, I'm gonna see what you got, because I know I don't have a complete set, but I have about half.
Okay.
So
yeah, so I still have some extras.
Cool. Sweet. Well, I might as well tell you my second Virtual Boy story.
It's the Virtual Boy hour.
So after getting really into the Game Chasers, one Saturday morning, I said, okay, this is the Saturday I'm going to go yard sale hunting. And the very first place I went, they had like one N64 or like a GameCube controller. And I picked that up. Went to a couple other places, did all the right things, asked people, hey, do you have any video games in your house? Anything you forgot to bring out? And I had I mapped out this list. So this was getting a little later, like 10:45, 11, like, most yard sales, you're tapped out at that point, right?
Right.
Like
right.
everything's,
so
all the good stuff's gone.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm going to go hit up this one more, and then I'm going to head home. I hadn't really found anything. So I go to this house, and you can always kind of tell who owns the house, and they're collecting money from other people. You can just kind of know who it is. So I walk up and I'm like, hey, do you have any old video games, perchance? And he's like, oh yeah. So most of his stuff was outside of the garage, but just a few things were still in the garage. And so I walk in, and sitting on this table is an NES console and the Virtual Boy. Now, I hadn't seen or thought about the Virtual Boy since like 1995, 6, 7, whenever I saw it at Kmart on display.
Right.
And looked in it and thought, why did they make this red? Which is what everybody thought. So I immediately knew what it was, but like it just was like a blast from the past. And I was like, so what do you want for it? He's like, I don't know, make me an offer. And I was like, me, I'm cheap. I'm like, $5? He's like, yeah, hang on a minute. He's like, hey, Ma. He was like an Italian guy. Hey, Ma, you take $5 for this stuff in here? She's like, yeah, get rid of it. And so I like to tell people that I got an NES for $2.50 and a Virtual Boy for $2.50.
Nice, the double whammy there. Jeez.
And it was in really great shape, and it had a copy of Mario Clash stuck in it.
Nice, yeah, you get the bonus game.
So actually, I don't know if I could find it fast enough, but I'll look for it while we're telling other stories. But I took a picture of that same day and sent it to my buddy Todd. Because me and Todd, that was how we rolled. It was always like,
who got what deal?
Who could one up the other one?
Yeah.
It was So it was a lot of competition. Me and Todd probably made me spend a lot more money than I ever wanted to spend.
Nice.
And my most recent video, when Todd was on my YouTube channel, he was like, hey, Jay, can you find a way to turn me into Ed Boon? Which is the little toasty guy from Mortal Kombat. So if you watch my recent video, you'll see Todd pop up and saying toasty in my video.
I did notice it. Sweet. Let's see. I don't know if we want to jump into user comments I got 2 stories listed. I know Jay has a bunch of other stories on there.
I got stories for days.
Well, here we can actually do have a phone call and text message, like I said, so we can jump to those and we'll see what they say.
What did you say? What did you say?
Springfield, let's hear from you.
I hit the wrong button. That's not the right prompt. We'll go with the comments then, because I don't want to play the other prompt yet. All right, let's see. We got the community page on YouTube right here, and I asked you guys tell us some of your most epic game hunting stories. Found this creepy picture of Mario.
I like it.
All right, we got Retroholic 16. What is up? He says, okay, so one of my most favorite / epic hunting stories is about 3 years ago. Someone on OfferUp posted Castlevania Bloodlines for sale. I went to his apartment to pick up the game, and when I went inside, he had a pretty decent sized collection. I told him it was awesome, and he said he was thinking about selling it to fund a project. Long story short, I bought his collection, and him and I have been best friends since and go game hunting on the weekends and in other states. Well, how about that? That's pretty cool. So you ended up getting a friend out of the deal. And
you bought a friend.
You bought a friend.
Amazing.
Nice. That's a good story. I like that one.
I like that story.
All right, we got Underwater Levels with a Z. Said back in 2000 or 2001, I found a copy of Color a Dinosaur in one of those 3 for $10 NES crates at a local used game store. Snatched it up, sold it years ago, well after the value took off.
Color a Dinosaur. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those definitely expensive games. I'm sure it's well over a few $100s, right?
Not in my game collection.
Not yet.
As much as I wish as it was.
And we got M&J Games said, I found Pokemon box disc and a bunch of GameCube games inside one of those cases that holds a bunch of the blank CDs. Oh, okay. And you could burn at a yard sale. I paid a good bit for them, but still 1/4 of what they were worth. They were scratched. So I thought they might not have worked, but they all played fine. So yeah, if you guys don't know what Pokemon Boxed is, essentially it came out on the GameCube, and it allowed you to, I'm trying to remember now, I believe, upload your Pokemon to this device on the GameCube and then download them to like another game. It was like before they had transferring or whatever, so it became kind of rare. It came into the game store when I worked at the game store a while, so but yeah, I could definitely see that like CD booklets being at yard sales and going through them and like, oh, a bunch of loose games in here, finding a whole bunch of GameCube games. And if like a mom or whatever doesn't know what those are, like, what are these small CDs, like
Right.
whatever, take them for like $10.
Yeah. Take these tiny CDs away from me.
Right. Let's see. Okay, and then we had one person on Facebook, I believe, on our Facebook page. So if you guys, you can follow us over there as well, the Weekly Warp Pipe on Facebook. And we had Tim Robbins. I've got two stories. All right. One was about 9 years ago. I was at a video game store in Denver, and they had retro stuff, but primarily focused on current generation games. I bought some Genesis games and found a complete in box Zombie Nation for NES.
Dang.
Another heavy hitter.
That's a good one.
Once I got up to the register and paid, they forgot to ring up Zombie Nation. And I pointed it out. The guy behind the counter was like, have it. At the time,
gosh,
it was $100 complete in box. Wow. So
wow,
freebie.
Just giving it to you. That's a story and a half.
My other story was about 4 months ago. I hit a Retromania Toy Con and found a legit cart-only copy of Demon's Crest for the Super Nintendo for $15.
It was at a toy convention?
It was just sitting on the ground in a clear bin. I was shocked. He said, yeah, Retromania Toy Con.
Wow.
So, it was probably someone that had maybe extra stock, and he was like, well, I'm going to this toy convention. Maybe I'll just bring some of these Super Nintendo carts.
That's crazy.
That's $15.
Those are two incredible finds. Like freaking Zombie Nation box, just take it. And then Demon's Crest for $15.
Well, he said Zombie Nation was going for $100 boxed, but he got this one loose for free.
Oh, got it loose.
Right.
Okay, I thought it was.
So I mean, even loose was probably $50.
Yeah, but still, like that's freaking rad, right? Like you think about what it's worth now. Oh, I
Absolutely.
found the picture. This was
perfect.
August 2nd, 2014. So this is how long ago it was when I got this. And there's a young Jay with no gray hair looking into it for the picture for Todd.
Nice. It looks like Retro Rick's profile picture.
That's what I thought. And so this was 2014. Every time I see Rick's profile, I'm always like, that looks like the picture I took originally. And I found this too. I'll show it to you real fast.
Nice.
If I can scroll fast enough. So
scroll faster.
Faster, Jay, faster. I found it and snapped a shot of it. This was from when I was trying to make the thumbnail.
Oh, for the Virtual Boy thing. Oh yeah, with the blood.
Yeah.
He's just crying. Nice.
Yep.
I dig it.
So sweet. What else we got, Russ?
Okay, so now we got some phone callers calling in and a text message as well.
Sweet.
I keep dreaming about my dream phone.
It's for you.
All right, so you can give us a call or a text message like Bilbo Baggins. He said, loving the podcast, fellas. One quick observation from last episode. Yoyos were huge in my high school, and the most sought after model was the Yomega Fireball. If you had that thing, you had it made. Love all these nostalgic episodes each week. Keep up the good work, Bilbo Baggins.
All the way from the Shire.
Yeah, I had the only yo-yos I remember having. I still have the Ninja Turtle Leonardo yo-yo, where it's like the turtle's like crunched up on the yo-yo.
Wow. I don't know that. That's sick.
You don't know that one? I gotta look it up so you can see a picture of this.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
I got that one, and then maybe just the generic like Duncan. I think.
Yeah, Duncan. That's what I was gonna say. Duncan. That's what I
yo-yo that
remember.
I had found. But more recently, I actually had to go buy a yo-yo when we did that Star Tropics commercial.
Oh yeah, for the
And I want the yo-yo to come down in the video, so I just went and bought. Funny enough, I couldn't find a red yo-yo. I had to buy like a yellow one and spray paint this one.
no way.
Yeah, so I was like, it's like time crunching or
You
whatever.
can't get a red yo-yo.
Here's the Ninja Turtle one.
Oh, that's sick. I love that.
So it's got Leonardo kind of crunched up on this yo-yo here. That was the one I had.
That's so cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I never got too big into yo-yos, but I know some people out there do some walk the dog around the world.
That's right.
Crazy tricks.
That's it.
All right, and we got a caller too. Riff called in from Pixel Game Squad.
No, he didn't.
Weekly Warp Pipe boys. It's Riff, Pixel Game Squad, Pixel Plus, checking in. I hear you guys are talking about game hunting finds. You know I gotta chime in. One of my favorites ever has to actually kind of do with Russ. A few years back, I was eating dinner with Russ and his beautiful wife and Retro Rick, and we're there eating dinner, and all of a sudden I get a text message from my friend saying, "Hey, I'm at a car audio shop. They have these cabinets, and I think they're Nintendo cabinets. I'm not sure, but I think they are. They could be. They have a little Nintendo logo on the bottom. Let me know." And he was like, "Do you want them? What do you want to pay?" Before I got back to him, I was, talking with Russ. I'm like, man, I don't know what I would pay. Maybe, I don't know, $500, a few $100, even though I know they're worth a lot of money. A little bit of a scammer. But, what happened is, basically, before I even got back to the guy, my buddy reaches back and goes, "Dude, I got both of them for $100. I'm taking the gamble." And about a week later, he goes, "Hey, let's go pull these things out. Let's get them out of there." The car audio shop said that they'll move them out of where they're at, and then we can take them and take a look at them. They don't care if they're worth money. They don't care anything. They just want them out. And lucky for us, when they pulled them out, yes, indeed, on the back of them, it said Nintendo headquarters. The other one said World of Nintendo. So they're obviously holy grails. Another reason these ended up pertaining to Russ is because I ended up selling them to Retro Games Plus, which is a shop that the audio listeners may not know or maybe do know. Russ he was a manager at one of the Retro Games Pluses years ago. So it's a really cool find for a super good deal. And it's like the circle of life because Russ was there when I found him. They went to a place that has to do with Russ. So, this is the story of this is Russ is cool and NES addict, a fool. I love you guys.
Sweet. Well, thanks for calling in, Riff. Yeah, he was talking about finding the Nintendo cabinets, the display cabinets.
Oh yeah.
And I was out visiting my wife's sister. She lives out in California. We were there on vacation and driving down the coast. We ended up in Huntington Beach as our last destination, which is close to where Riff lives. So we ended up meeting up for dinner. Me, Riff, and Ricky came out. And yeah, while we were having dinner, he got a call from one of his buddies that came across these cabinets and got them for a fantastic deal. And inevitably ended up at my old boss's shop at Retro Games Plus in California. So this way they're on display. And he did it right because they have like stuff on the front and back. So he like put it in the middle of the store. So you can, if you walk around it, you can see, both sides.
Nice. That's cool. Very cool.
Pretty awesome. So again, guys, if you guys want to call in and leave us a message, it is 949-682-9277. I guess I could play off of that one there. Essentially, last year, me and my wife were going on a family vacation in Virginia Beach. So we were driving down from Connecticut and we were kind of taking our time. So we ended up stopping at like a Goodwill, see if I could find anything. And then they had a few like antique malls down there. They're definitely more common once you get further south. So we went into this one antique mall. We're looking around, kind of seeing what they have. Most of the stuff obviously is going to be like knickknacks and tables, maybe like records, not really like video game related stuff. And I'm walking down the aisle and then I spot out of my periph. I'm like, wait, like that looks super familiar. And what I spotted was one of those cabinets, the World of Nintendo cabinets. You could see on the side of the cabinet, it's like black and gray with like, I don't know, it's like, it almost reminds me of the NES cart, you know, how it has like the ribbing
rib,
or whatever.
right?
Yeah, it has that. And I was like, no freaking way. And I moved something, and you could see on the back of the cabinet, like World of Nintendo. So I go around to go into the booth, and it's filled with like knickknacks, like
Wow.
porcelain dolls or, you know, salt and pepper shakers. And it has a sticker on it that says cabinets not for sale. And I was like, I'm sure tons of people asked her about
I
it.
will build her a cabinet.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I'm sure if you came with a replacement cabinet and some money, be like, hey, I'll give you this cabinet and some money. Can I just take this Nintendo
Russ, that's your next video. I swapped cabinets. You build the greatest cabinet of your life, and you drive back down there with $250, and you say $250 in a brand new cabinet, homemade by Russ Lyman.
one? And what's funny is, like, you know, we're talking about it, and my wife had taken her convertible down. So I'm like, how would we even get it back? Like sticking out the top.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
But yeah, it was a cool find. I did, again, if you guys want to check it out, I do have a video on the channel, me finding that, and I was just so shocked, and I was like, man, that's definitely a holy grail for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a holy grail. It's amazing. All right. I have about 3 more, maybe 4 more really good stories. A couple of them I can make short. What do you want to hear? How many do you want to hear of those?
Yeah, I mean, you could do a few more. I have let's see. I have one other good one on there that I could add in, so maybe you could do 2, I'll go, and then you do 2.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So one Saturday morning I got up, gonna go hit up some yard sales, and I go out to this yard sale, and my goal is always to be that annoying guy that's there first, because as annoying as it is, sometimes it just takes being there first to get the good stuff, right?
Get the deal. Early worm catches the bird.
The early worm catches the bird. That's exactly how that goes. Early bird catches the worm. Anyway, so this early worm got up there, and I see a guy I know who's a local, that's a game collector, and so we're waiting around. He's like, "Oh, what's up, Jay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm here doing the same thing you're doing, waiting to see what they got." And so they open up the garage, and me and my buddy David start looking, and I just happened to grab the right box full of Master System games. It has Zillion, and it has I can't remember what other ones. Quartet.
I was like, wait, it has a zillion games?
Zillion is the name of the game.
Oh, okay.
But the one that was the coolest was had Phantasy Star, the original Phantasy Star, and these all had the old school, like, white and black Master System boxes. So I took home about 5 or 6 Master System games that day. That was cool. The other story was I found a Master System very early on, this is like 2014, probably, on a Craigslist ad. This is when I was still using Craigslist. And so I drove out to this house, and the guy walks out, and he has the Master System, and this Master System is like immaculate. I regret selling it. It still had the cellophane piece over covering it to like protect it. And he gives me 2 games. He gives me Rambo, and if I'm not mistaken, this game was in the box, and I sold it to Todd. I regret selling it. Todd, jerk.
Oh, hopefully he still has it.
He doesn't. That's the problem. And it was Alf, which I thought was so cool because it's a pretty rare game.
Okay.
And it was also like a really funny AVG episode.
That's right. And Rambo's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was Rambo 2 actually.
Okay.
But it's kind of like a Akari Warriors style game.
Gotcha.
But those are my two Master System stories.
Yeah, I said I don't have much history with Master System, unfortunately. I like to dive into trying some of the games. I mean, I have them on my SNES Classic that's modded, so I can always maybe stream some of those. I do know Ninja Gaiden's plays differently on the Master System, and it's actually pretty good.
Yep.
So that'd be a fun live stream on there. But yeah, I never owned one. None of my friends owned one. And I never seen one at like a pawn shop or whatever. So for me to start collecting for it now, it's like,
I
have
only
no-
knew one
no
person
attachment
that
to
had it as a kid, and
Okay.
it was her uncle's. And as a matter of fact, she might still have it. I need to ask her. I wonder if Amy's ready to part with that Master System yet.
Let
Probably
us know in
not.
the comments, Amy, if you're listening.
She ain't.
So my last story takes place. We were actually at Southeast Game Exchange, maybe 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. Try to remember the last time. It was the last time we went.
Yeah.
I think that was 2 years ago. And we had left on Sunday, and we were staying with one of my friends in North Carolina, since the event is in South Carolina.
That's right.
And he was like, you could, drive back to my place, crash there, and then you guys can like leave in the morning, get some rest. So we hung out, but then he was telling us that locally there was this like old video store that this guy had a bunch of inventory in it, and he's been trying to like get in there and see it. And he was kind of using me as like an excuse. He's like, well, this YouTuber's here and he does content, and it'd be great to like, film a video of this and this and that. So he got him on the phone, and he was like, all right, if you guys want to come down tomorrow at like, 9 a.m., I'll unlock the building and you guys can look through it. So I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be like basically like American Pickers. Like, this is how they do it. So we go down there. The store was used to be called Flick Video. Now, I guess that was like a chain.
It was
similar to Blockbuster or whatever, but more of a mom and pop shop.
Yes. I think I've seen Flick Video stickers on NES games before.
Nice. And so the place currently is a gym. So the way it was set up, it had like the gym on the forefront, but then like above that was like the storage area. So this is where he had all the stuff in there. And again, of course, I have a video of this if you guys want to check it out. I put it out a couple months back. It's on the channel. I'll see if I can link all of these in the description. But we get in there. First thing we walk in, and it's like filled with the like fiberglass characters that you would have at like these rental stores. So there's like the Blues Brothers, there's like Frankenstein, and then we see amongst that one of those Mario statues
that Gamer Aimer has.
Gamer Aimer has one, and it's like pristine. The red on it is like popping, blues, nice, beautiful. Because I had seen one before. While we were in Virginia Beach, we went to another place and they had one that was like sun faded to like no return.
Right.
And I was like, this one, wow, such a difference. And we just started exploring everything. I mean, he had, for whatever reason, his dad, it was the guy's dad that collected all this stuff and had the stores. He had like 4 or 5 sets of the Blues Brothers like figures in there.
Now, was any of this for sale? Could you purchase any of this stuff?
So at the time, he wasn't ready to part with anything. He just let us look through it essentially. There was video game stuff. They had like a boxed Jungle Green N64.
Wow.
He had one of those signs like Super Mario World that you would hang like at a store that would rotate, it's like puffy, like the puffy sign. That was super cool. Like tons of toys there. He had like Chucky dolls, Kiss dolls, like kind of a mix of like everything, video game, pop culture stuff, wrestling stuff, sports stuff. There was like jackets. He had like a Charlotte Hornets like winter coat jacket.
Starter probably.
Right, starter one. It was just super cool to see and go through. We weren't able to purchase anything, but I had reached out to my friend, and he said he was starting to let some stuff go. I guess his father had passed away in the fall, so that was kind of all his stuff. So now it's passed on to him. So he was like, all right, maybe I could start selling some of this stuff, either it be one at a time or as a lot or whatever. But super big store, really cool. That was an old rental store, Flick Video, so it had some nostalgia to it. And it's great to see.
Get him hooked up with Rick. I bet Rick could take that Mario off his hands.
That's true. He'll be out that way for Southeast Game Exchange, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
All right, so I got 2 left. This one I was working for this skate park, and when I was always at the skate park, I had like a lot of time to watch YouTube videos. So I was watching this Michael Be the Game Genie like top 10 video, and it was like top 10 NES games, and one of the games he listed was Shadow of the Ninja, which I'd never heard of. Well, later that night, I was supposed to be meeting this guy, or maybe it was like the next day. It was within like a 24-hour time span. I was meeting this guy to pick up some games. And so he has this lot of games he had found at like a storage bin or something. One of the games was actually Moonwalker, which I got for like $5 or $10.
Nice.
But as I'm flipping through, I see like this pristine copy of Shadow of the Ninja. And like, had I not watched that Michael Be the Game Genie video, I may have just passed right over it.
Mhm.
So like, I was like, "Oh, cool, Shadow of the Ninja, sweet." And he was like, "Oh, is that a good game?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just a regular game, you know."
It's like
I'm
Ninja
like,
Gaiden.
I'm like, it's like Ninja Gaiden. I'm just trying to like downplay it, right? And then he also has like a Tenjin game where the label's ripped off, and he didn't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I was hoping it was Tetris. It was actually Shinobi. However,
Shinobi.
but I got the games for $5 each. So I got a really nice Shadow of the Ninja, which was probably going for about $45-$50 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
for $5, and it's got super clean label. Awesome.
Nice.
And I wouldn't have known about it if it wasn't for Michael Be the Game Genie.
See, there we go. It wasn't Metal Jesus.
It wasn't Metal Jesus. Nope. All right. And the last story I have, this happened last August. And I'm at my mom's house helping her. She had just broke her hip. I was helping her, but I was getting ready to come back home. And I get this text message on my phone. And it was my buddy from Miracle Hill, Jeffrey. And he was like, "Dude, you're not going to believe what just walked in the store." And I'm like, "What are you about to send me?" And he sends me this picture. And the picture he sends me is of this sign right behind me. This
Oh God,
baby
yeah.
toy World Nintendo sign. So like, I'm like pooping my pants because this thing is like a holy grail, one in a lifetime find. You're never going to get it again. You're never going to get another chance. And like, I'm like, okay, what are they going to want for this thing? Like $500, $1,000? Like, I'm trying to figure out how
Right.
I'm going to get this without pissing off the wife. So,
The main thing. Yep.
so, Retro Wolf 88 just happened to be here, and because he was visiting Andy on his way to go see Rick to deliver, what was that thing that
Was
delivered
it a Master Chief?
It was he was delivering the Jeffrey Toys R Us.
Oh, that's right.
Jeffrey the giraffe. And I'm like, dude, I might have to send my Wii U kiosk too. I might have to sell, because he's been wanting the Wii U kiosk. And I was like, I might have to sell this, like, $300, $400, $500, whatever it's going to take. So I'm waiting back to hear, what this guy's going to tell me the price is.
Suspense.
Sorry, I needed some water.
Suspense.
So, yes, building suspense. So I get a text back, and I'm thinking, I'm thinking $300, $400, $500, $600. I'm not sure. He said $100, and I'm like, you got it. And then the next text he sends me goes, "Do you have one of those 50% off coupons?" Because I shop there all the time. And I was like, "Yes, I do." He was like, "You can use it." And I'm like, $50 for this sign. So I go, and he said, "Man, the minute that thing walked through the door, I knew who I was calling." And apparently the guy was moving, didn't know what to do with it, and said he hated to drop it off at the store, but just didn't know what else to do with it. So whoever you are, sir, who dropped that sign off at Miracle Hill, it will stay in my possession until my fingers are dead and still clutching to it. So
it's gonna be at Jay's funeral above the casket.
maybe my wife can just like bury me in it, like stuff me down in there and just put me into the ground. I don't know. But
You did tell me you did have to purchase like a light bulb or something. Because
I did have to purchase a light bulb. Yeah, the optic. Yeah, so I got in touch with Collector's Luck, and he told me exactly what to put in it, and it popped right on. And it's nice because it's LED, so it doesn't really produce heat.
Yes,
Because it has a fan for the old school light bulbs, but it doesn't really need it anymore for that. And not a single fiber optic was broke. It all lights up perfectly. And I rearranged my whole game room just to fit it in here because it was too cool not to. And every time I see it behind me, I'm just like, I can't. That's probably why I haven't bought anything since I got that.
Oh yeah,
because I was like, there's nothing else like I need after this. This is the coolest thing ever.
that's the top tier. Yeah.
So
and
sure. If you want to see the video, one of the last YouTube videos I made up until this most recent one is of me picking this up with Andy Pac-Man case and Retro Wolf 88. So
nice.
That's the best story I got.
It's the cream of the crop.
Yep.
Sweet. So yeah, we had some good game hunting stories for sure. So hopefully you guys dig that. Be sure to leave some comments or suggestions of future topics, so we might be able to, choose your topic again there. So shout out to Kobe for letting us know he wanted to hear this topic on the Weekly War Pipe.
That's right.
So catch us every Saturday at 7 a.m. And then if you want more of us, we have Warp Pipe Wednesday at 7 a.m. as well. You can watch on YouTube or it's on Spotify, Google, and all that good stuff. And hope you guys have a great week. As always, I'm Russ Lyman. Keep your world fun bit by bit.
Cheers.